Yo, how's it going? So today we're going to be talking about tips and just overall things you need to remember when playing Epic 7. We're on day 11 of my beginner account and I've been having a blast. And majority of the time when I used to play the game when I first started, I forgot a lot of things to do. Like I'll be honest, there was a lot of things like crafting specific things, like charms in Sanctuary, maybe guild stuff, maybe Hall of Trials. I just forget to do it. So today I want to go over a couple of things that some people might forget or might not even know about if you're a new player. These will be incredibly basic things, so if you're a veteran, you might not really get much benefit out of this, but if you're a new player, you might find this to be quite helpful. So, straight away, let's actually go into the Sanctuary, because I think the Sanctuary is something that a lot of people will remember, but sometimes I used to forget, to be honest. So, first of all, Forest of Souls, you can collect stuff here every day. It's worth it. Even trying to get your Mulgar up, even clicking it can be actually very helpful because you do get quicker that way. Very basic stuff. Now, high command, I actually want to talk about this. Some people don't do this. I've seen people that just don't do this. Even if you just upgrade building by one, this is really, really good value. Just getting like arena coins and also getting these. This all adds up very, very much. In 4 hours, I can get 17 of these arena tickets. That is really, really good. Once you do this, maybe like, let's just say I do this every 4 hours, I could get like 100 conquest points in one day. That is very, very good, and it's actually a lot of value. If you're a new player, obviously you just want to go ahead and pick the highest one that makes the best sense for the time that you can log in, and that's the basic gist. Very worth doing, adds up in the long run, and you will get a lot of benefit, especially with getting conquest points and getting these to me by like charms for your necklaces and rings. I find this to be very good. Next up, we have Heart of Orbis. Don't have to explain this. Very, very simple. Alchemist Steeple. One thing I really want to mention is the charms. As you can see here, I've almost forgotten to do this. It's only Wednesday, to be fair, so give me a bit of a break. But making charms is actually very, very important. Basically, all you have to do is just extract gear, and then you just drop in this, boom, and you want to do this every week. You want to make sure you're getting all of these because these charms will also add up. You get 5 if you do the max. Don't do like a little bit, go all the way to max. You can see by just this, if it's a gold bar and says epic, do it. Don't do it with less because you just missing out on value. Next up, the thing I want to talk about here is guild content. Guild content is probably some of the most important stuff in terms of like rewards and stuff like that. First of all, of course, I'm going to say the obvious. Make sure to do your guild battles. I don't have them on right now, but make sure to set defense. Make sure to actually do your guild battles. I will be 100% honest. When I first started, I actually didn't do it. Sometimes I did it, and sometimes I was like, oh crap, I just missed the guild battle. It happens. It's a very simple thing, but some people do forget, I'll be honest. Next up, World Boss. This is something that you can get rewards from doing. I do recommend doing it. You just do this twice a day. You also get other things for us I'll talk about in a moment. If you actually don't know how this works, basically, just hop into support management, auto assign some teams. I'm just going to make sure they're updated. Some people say to like do this every day, like auto assign your teams every day, just so you make sure that you have the best teams in here. I have some pretty okay teams in here, nothing too crazy. You just hop in, you click ready. Most people tend to select the highest team CP because that will generally give you the most points. So 480,000 is the highest. I'm going to go ahead and do it. We just auto assign, boom. And we go in and do this. Very simply, all you have to do here is just either wait for it to finish, or you can click the skip button at the top right, which should show up in a moment. That person has Sid, man, I'm so jealous. I love that Sid. That Sid is so cool. I love his third scale animation, but you can't get him on the new Moonlight event. Yes, great. You actually get some chests here. These are random rewards. Of course, you want to sell better teams in the long run. Like, once you actually build up your account, you will find your teams be better, but you will get like SSS maybe. For me right now it's A+, because this is my second time running this today. If I had my face as well, you will see we get these red things. These red things are actually pretty useful because if we hop over to the next section here, it is in donate. In donate, basically, you can actually get these through doing, obviously, the world boss. There is also, once you're actually doing the story, you will have urgent missions pop up from time to time. You will see them, and you can actually get these points by doing them. Doing this every day, you can donate, and you can get these. I believe you can donate 3 of these a day, and this will always add up as well. This is really, really helpful because you can actually use it in the shop to buy certain things, especially buying these artifacts. These artifacts are fantastic. Some of them I like Proof of Valor, but I know there's a lot of really good ones here. You definitely want to get. There is other stuff like this. I wouldn't specifically recommend actually buying any of this other stuff with these until you've like bought at least one of these artifacts each, because these artifacts are great. I would, from my past experience of not buying any artifacts and just buying random stuff, I'd recommend buying the artifacts first. You can also buy other stuff like this. I tend to keep at least a little bit of this so I can buy, for example, Molagora. Molagora, of course, being very, very good to buy. Right, next up we have donate. Not donate, we have aid. So, aid is something that needs to load up first before I can actually talk about it. Right, before we got really interrupted there, we actually are going to talk about aid now. So, aid is something that you will see a lot of people, if you're new, probably don't know what it really is because this is a bit weird and random. Basically, you will see people asking for this. This is something that the Epic 7 community just like uses as currency in this aid tab. All you want to do is click request aid at the top right. I can't show this right now because the day hasn't reset. You click request aid and you select these. You should have these, and basically you go ahead and select them and people can donate them to you. This is obviously good for the guild, but the great part about this is you can donate them to other people as well. As you can see, if I, for example, if we pretend this person has maybe not been donated them to a maximum, I would just click aid. I would actually get some of these points and it adds up in the long run. This is something that you want to do every single day. Just aid people. If people want like catalysts, I would probably hold off from donating catalysts just because it's not something that people tend to do. Some people get kicked out of guilds for actually asking for catalysts. So make sure to ask for these specifically. This is just the currency for this that people tend to use. Right, next up we're going to talk about expeditions. If you go and take a look at the top here, we have this little red symbol. I'm actually going to go into here just in case you have a different background. Expeditions is obviously very important to do. Alright, now we're in expedition. So expedition is something you do want to make sure you're doing. I used to forget about this all the time. I didn't even remember expedition was even a thing back then. So first thing I want to say is the rewards in this are very good. You get charms, you can get a lot of different things, equipment conversion chests, Molagora of course being amazing to get. You definitely want to do this. And even gold transmit stones. If you want to get some moonlight summons, it always adds up. Definitely worth doing. Premium supply plus. I never say it. Premium supply. Why can't I not say the word? Supply pass. I'm British as well. Maybe that's a problem. I personally don't buy this. I know some people buy this, but to be honest, it's just too much for me to shell out. But basically how this works, we'll go over what other people might have. So sometimes you might see there's like this little symbol here. This means that someone has an expedition. Simply all you really want to do here is you want to enter it once, complete it, and even if you don't beat it, you will actually like have points on the left side here. I believe there is actually one in progress right now, if I'm correct. Okay, it's actually mine. Yeah, you can also have your own, but basically, once you enter this, you will see on the left side, damage ranking. You will want to do one of these once. Once you do one of these once, you will be on this list, and then you can maybe invite people if it's your own, or if it's someone else's, eventually it should end up completing, and then once you leave this, at the bottom left, it will say view all results. You'll click it and you'll get some rewards and it will count as one expedition clearing. If you are playing through another one that's someone else's, you do want to make sure that like the timer is like 1 hour and it has like 4 HP, because that probably means it's not going to get beaten. But I recommend hop in here once, go ahead and just do it. You're not going to beat it majority of the time when you're a new player, but there are really good guides for teams. Regardless, you basically want to be on the board and then you just leave it and you hope that it gets done. And that moves me on to the next thing, which is Hall of Trials. This is something that I'm going to be honest, right? I forgot to do this so many times. It's in the daily missions and weekly, no, it's in the weekly missions. This is something that's mega important to do, but I've always forgot to do it. This is something that you want to try and at least get, SS on it. This is like something that is really not that difficult to do. Most of the time you bring a good single target damage deal and you can actually do it. But one thing you really want to focus on is the advantages here. As long as you focus on these, you will generally do okay. I'm currently win 52%, which is pretty good to be fair. It's nothing too crazy. There is also challenge mode, not something you're going to be worried about if you're watching this video. Doing this is obviously very important because you can actually exchange stuff for exclusive equipment, basically improving the character. Some of this exclusive equipment makes a character, so you definitely want to make sure you're doing this. Also, if you do well enough, you can get Fate's Gaze. Fate's Gaze is basically ML exclusive equipment. This is something you cannot just get through here. You can get on 4-star ML units, but 5 stars you can only get through this. This is a finite resource, so in some sense you want to make sure you're doing these as much as possible. Some of these, like Arby's, is really good. Definitely some of these are definitely worth getting. You want to make sure to not just spam this though. This is something you want to try and make sure you're buying the right thing and not wasting it. Simply how this works is you will, for example, take a look at this. Increase attack of thief heroes in the back row. Okay, so you want to go ahead and have a thief in the back row, and when forming a team of 4 non-overlapping classes, increase attack by 50% and decreases damage suffered by 30% of the team. So we want 4 different classes and a thief in the back. I think I have a team set up for this, but we'll go ahead and make one right now. Let's hop into here. So what we want to go ahead and do is, we obviously want a knight, we obviously want a soul weaver. That's just the basic gist. Once you start getting more into the game, you'll have better teams and you probably won't have to follow this, but this is like just the very basics. We want a thief at the back, so let's go ahead and pop here and we just select thief. We can go ahead and take a look at all our thieves. I don't have Genua built, I don't have most of these units built, so we just pop Corinne in the back. Probably not the best unit for this, we probably want a single target damage dealer, but we'll do with this for now. And then we want another unit to go alongside these characters. It has to be 4 different classes, so let's go ahead and maybe pick like a warrior, maybe pick like Commander Pavel, and you have your team done. I tend to just hop into this, auto this, and just see how many points I get. If you want to just go ahead and just play through it and not auto, you can also do that. It's probably more efficient, but that's what I tend to do. I like to play in Commander Larina because Commander Larina is just very good for most content. As long as you follow this main thing here, you will have at least S most of the time. But yeah, that's the basic gist of that. Don't want to talk about it too much, of course. We also have Pet House. Pet House, you get 1 summon a day. This is something you want to try and do. The pets are very annoying in this game. I honestly wish they just change the system and maybe just make it much easier. Or just give us a free hunt pet that like gives us everything. That'd be great. But if you go to the pet shop, actually, this is something you want to try and do every single week. Try and buy out all of these. It is quite expensive with gold, but you want to make sure you're doing this. This is very important. Debatably, one of the most important things in the whole entire game. Trying to get pet adoption tickets and summoning pets will add up because you'll be able to actually like upgrade your pets. Once you upgrade them, you want to make sure you have S on every single skill, but you want to make sure to have them all aligned for each other. For example, side story and side story. That's something you want to do. Also like this, I have only got one S on this. I need a lot more copies of like different hunt pets, and then I can combine them together and have one ultimate hunt pet. Once you have that ultimate hunt pet, you can actually go ahead and play with the actual pet here, and the affinity will go up. Once the affinity just keeps going up, you will actually get basically a higher rate on the actual skills. So it basically improves them. It's something you want to make sure you're doing. Very important. Something that I do sometimes forget about. Just buy out all of these. Honestly, save your gold just to buy out these all the time. You can also buy some of this stuff down here. This is generally pretty worth it as well. The next thing I want to talk about is some more obvious stuff. This is more beginner related now. So, one thing you want to do is you want to be doing your Adventures Path. Wow, really? Didn't see that coming. Adventures Path is a point that, well, there's a certain point where you might just kind of forget about it, or you might just move away from it, because once you complete, like for example, Heroes Path 1, it becomes more just, the missions are a little bit more difficult to do and they take more time. You might just end up avoiding them. But one thing I actually do recommend doing is just trying to just do these on the way of playing the game. Like once you have reached a point where you feel like you don't really focus on it, I would still recommend just trying to do it, because some of the stuff can still make up for farming. Like for example, conquest points. You can even get more of these. So if you're farming Wyvern, you get kind of more in the long run. You can also get some from like other dungeons, and also some rewards can be kind of helpful, like some pet adoption tickets. You can also get summons for these, catalysts. I just recommend doing this. Of course, if you're a new player, make sure to do all your missions. These are all very, very important, and will actually guide you through what to do in the game. Brings me up to the next point, Epic Dash. This is something you are probably very familiar with. I don't have to tell you this, but make sure to go ahead and claim everything. If I had my face here, you can claim 2 things there, energy and 10 skips for content. You want to claim this. This is very important. Of course, do your Epic Dash pass. Before the end of a week, you want to complete your weekly missions. I'm actually not too sure what happens at the end of a week if you do not complete all of them. Please let me know. I'm actually incredibly curious, but you want to make sure to do all your daily missions to try and get all the points you can, and doing weekly missions. Weekly missions are a little bit more difficult to do in one day, but you can generally do them pretty quickly. It's already 3 days and I've already completed them, so that should really tell you everything. Make sure to do them. Of course, Premium Moonlight summons. I don't think I have to tell you. This is something you can do, I believe, 10 times a day, and you basically get pretty good gear. Like, if you're a beginner player, this is going to be very, very helpful for you in the short term. Some of the gear can be really good, to be fair, but in the long term, if you're like a veteran player, I probably wouldn't do this unless you have beginner gear, and that's literally the only thing you have. Then maybe it's worth doing. This is something, if you're a beginner though, make sure to do it. And that moves us over to the next bit of content, which is the event tab. This tab is incredibly important because it has all your beginner rewards. 99% of you are familiar with this. You already know that this is going to be important. I don't really want to preface this, but some people might just forget. This is something that you actually unlock after completing some missions. Funnily enough, after you actually complete certain events through this, like the beginner events, you unlock other beginner events. So if you are almost finished, like one mission off, but you're like, I don't really care about that mission, you probably won't get anything really after it, maybe just like 2 Molagora, it could be worth it because you might unlock another one. I'm pretty sure you don't get that with the Hunt Expert Challenge, but there are certain events that if you complete them, you do actually get different events. This one is amazing. Actually, insanely a good event. You get great gear, you get great rewards. Honestly, one of the best beginner things I've ever seen in my life. Just straight up. Doing this is very good. You also have your daily events, the regular events. Basically, use up 20 battles and you will go ahead and get energy. This is fantastic. You can go in and click use, and then you will hop into here. This will usually be like a little mini game or maybe like a spin wheel. You go in and spin it, you go in and play it, and you will get 4 of these actually done. And then you can go ahead and get points or a reward as well at the end of it. And then you can also hop into here. Once you just keep doing this every single day, you can go ahead and get some rewards. They will add up. Some of these can be much better sometimes, like Gold Transmit Stone. This is just your regular events. Sometimes they do have better ones though. Right, next up we also have a Labyrinth. One thing I also want to mention is Automating Tower. This is something you do from time to time. To be honest, you will see it when it's there. You will get good rewards for doing this. Do this weekly. This is also part of your weekly missions, which I guess I haven't talked about. Do your daily missions, do your weekly missions. It is worth doing. Without a doubt, let's be honest. Without a doubt, it's definitely worth doing. But yeah, talking about Labyrinth. So, first thing I want to mention is hopping into this stage here, and then going into here. You might wonder why I'm doing this. Apart from just doing Labyrinth, it is also worth hopping into the first stage. Now, why do I say that? So, if we hop over here, if you've done this before, I have not done this before. Okay, well, I'll talk about this in the meantime. Basically, you want to teleport to Huchi as close as possible to Huchi, and you want to go to him. I will explain now why. The great thing about you doing this daily is Huchi actually sells a lot of stuff. If he's not scamming you, he actually sells pretty good stuff. So, I forget, to be honest, half the time what he actually sells in terms of bad things. Yeah, he does actually have 1-star artifacts, yeah. You want to make sure you're buying, like, bookmarks. Bookmarks are very worth it. Artifact charms, they are very worth it. Friendship bookmarks, don't buy them. That's very weird. These artifacts, I personally don't buy them. I don't think they're worth buying. And charms. Yes, buy the charms. This is like a very good way of getting charms just do this once a day. And once you've actually completed it, all you have to do is go ahead and yield. And I believe we should keep one of our labyrinth tokens. There we go. This basically resets every single day. You can't like keep coming back into this and buying charms. That's not how it works. It's once a day. Obviously, this brings up the point of actually doing labyrinth. You want to at least try and do labyrinth if you're a new player. Just progress through stages. You will have these other labyrinth tokens. Obviously, you want to be trying to do your runs in this content. This content is actually very worth doing. It is going to be a little bit difficult for new players, but there are great guides out there to actually complete this. This is actually very helpful because the labyrinth shop can actually be not too bad. It's not actually specifically this one, but there is also great things here like charms. Definitely worth doing. I would recommend buying this for the Sky Stones, but some people might do that. But obviously, very worth doing. This is more end game content, especially later into this, but definitely worth doing. The gear you can actually get for some of these is really good. I just want to say that the gear from some of these is really good, especially once you start getting to the bottom one here, the really difficult one. Top stuff. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers most things I would talk about today. I didn't want to overwhelm people, but I kind of just did that, so my apologies in advance. The final two things I want to talk about is probably Arena. Arena is obviously a very basic thing to understand. You want to do this for conquest points. Try to not overcap on arena tickets. Honestly, conquest points are probably one of the most important things out there for currency, just because the gear that you can get can be really, really good. And that moves me on to the very final thing I want to talk about. Apart from just doing Arena, let's hop over to the actual shop here. So all this currency that we've kind of accumulated through doing certain things will all add up. One thing I'm going to just talk about, of course, is the transmit stones. Transmit stones you can get through feeding characters. This is very useful because you can get charms, you can get artifact charms, you can get gem selection chests, you can get these ego fragments, which you will find a use in long term. I won't go over that in this video. You can also get greater spirit blooms, which are used to evolve characters. Technically not entirely necessary, but only costs 3, so up to you. Most important thing to buy though every single week is Molagora. Do it, trust me. You will regret not buying Molagora. If you don't do anything in this game, at least buy Molagora. I'm telling you. Powder of Knowledge shop, this is something that you can actually like sell your 3-star artifacts to get. So for example, I have some random artifacts I might want to get rid of. I'll sell them, we get some Powder of Knowledge. The important thing here is actually buying Ball of Knowledge. Ball of Knowledge is incredibly important. This is something you want to buy out every, I think it's around a month before this resets and you actually get another one. There is also sometimes artifacts that you will find. For example, you can see we have Golden Rose and Alensi's artifact. Why do we have that? Because they are actually in the summons. So that is why they're available. Sometimes there'll be really, really good artifacts that you actually want to buy in the powder shop. Of course, it becomes a little bit difficult because the actual currency isn't incredibly easy to get. But one thing you definitely want to do is buy the Ball of Knowledge. This is fantastic for limited artifacts. You will understand later on. I'll try and make a video talk about it, but I don't want to go into it too much right now. Friendship shop. Buy the energy. The energy is very important. You can actually do this just in the normal recommended shop here. Next shop we have is also the Labyrinth shop. We've talked about this. Charms, very good. And the final shop is the Conquest Point shop. Now, there are people who will tell you specifics on like what gear is the best to get. I'm going to be honest. I've mostly just got, I think I just showed you. I've mostly got the crit gear and the pen gear, but there's pretty much a lot of gear here you want to get. To be honest, the best thing to do is buy the cheapest gear and then go downwards, to be honest. Or if you need like a pair of gear that you really need, like for example, I wanted this helmet or I wanted this necklace. Necklace and rings are actually very important to get. Sometimes it's worth just buying these, even if they're a bit more expensive. Just buy all of this, to be honest. There's great guides for what you should buy specifically, but buying the gear, make sure to use these conquest points. Some of this gear can be actually fantastic for a new player. I'll actually go ahead and take a look at what units might have a couple of this. I think my Pavel actually has some of this gear if we hop over. As you can see, I've been building a lot of my characters. Someone's bound to have some gear. I think this is actually a gear from the shop. I believe this is a gear from the shop. I apologize if it's not, but it's 9 gear score. Turned out, you know, it's got effectiveness, so maybe not good number 1 specifically, but still, it is not too bad. This is probably more of like a bruiser piece. I think Pablo has one that specifically, yeah, okay, yeah, this, like this. Necklaces are very annoying to get. I have a necklace now. It's not the best. This has F-res, so, you know, it can really roll into F-res like 90% of the time. It tends to find a way to do that, to be honest. But this is fantastic. Make sure to buy stuff from the Conquest points. It's definitely worth it. Anyway, my throat is completely gone after talking for that long, to be honest. So I hope you found this video helpful. I've been trying to make videos on this new account as much as possible. If you do find these videos helpful, please do drop a like and subscribe. It honestly means the world to me. Also, if you have any recommendations for what you want to see next, maybe a certain video you want to see, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next one, and adios.